Learn with Tofik.
This is a typical IELTS academic writing task. You are asked to compare two different views using ideas and examples. In this case, you are asked whether or not sport should be compulsory at school. Writing more than 250 words is okay, but you should never write less than 250 words, otherwise you will be marked down. I am going to talk you through an example which would score a band 9 in the exam. The first paragraph should contain the question expressed using your own words. This is called paraphrasing. It's a good idea to use the passive tense where possible. So here, for example, benefits and drawbacks have been discussed rather than people discussed the benefits and drawbacks. So wherever you can use the passive tense, use it. After paraphrasing the question in my opening statement, I go on to describe the outline of my essay. So here I am expressing that I will give the benefits and drawbacks of both views, and after this I will come to a conclusion. Notice in this paragraph how I continue to maintain the passive tense. The next paragraph will show one of the views. In this example, I chose to discuss the view that sports should not be compulsory at school. There are lots of phrases you can learn to open this kind of paragraph. For example, on one hand, or from one perspective, or from one angle. In order to score a band 9 in this academic writing task, I would suggest that you use at least 3 points to defend each view. You don't need to spend a very long time thinking about the points to support each point of view. You don't need to bring forward unique opinions. You don't need to come across as a genius. As long as you answer the question accurately, you will be able to score full marks. In this example, I chose to use 3 points. My first point is to discuss that the main purpose of schooling is education rather than sport. Therefore, sports can distract from the main objective of schooling. You should avoid opening each sentence with the same word. The next point I'm putting forward is that certain sports can create a tribal feeling, that is to say, division amongst children. Try to avoid using absolute terms unless they are appropriate. So rather than saying sports or all sports, I am opening using certain sports. When adding further points to support your view, you can use certain phrases or words, including furthermore or in addition to this. Here I chose to use at the same time. My third and final point to support the first point of view is a discussion about sports and sports stars that might have tarnished the name of sport due to things like drug abuse. It's quite natural to start a new paragraph once you have finished discussing the first point of view. I would suggest using 4 paragraphs, the opening paragraph to summarize the question and to outline the essay, and the second paragraph to discuss one point of view, the third paragraph to discuss the other, and the closing paragraph to draw a conclusion. There are lots of different ways to open the paragraph discussing the second point of view. In this case, I chose to use conversely. Again, I would suggest using at least 3 points to defend the alternate view. Here I open with team building and leadership. These are 2 skills which can be used also in later life and can be adapted to any kind of working or social environment. These skills are characteristic of all team sports. You don't need to write the same amount for each point you make. This is because some ideas might be more difficult to express than others. I'd like to remind you again, please don't spend too much time thinking about very complex answers. The most important thing is to answer the question using sensible points. In this answer, I have written a little bit more to justify my first point compared to the next two I'm going to make. If you develop one of your ideas a little further, it can become easier to demonstrate advanced vocabulary. My second point is that if you were to give children enough sports to choose from, it's highly likely that they would choose at least one which they enjoy. So enjoyment is a factor we should consider. Notice that my second point is much shorter than my initial point, and this is absolutely fine. Also note again how I try to avoid using the same word to open each sentence. My closing point to support this view is that physical health is important for psychological health, and therefore this is clearly important for education. You have 40 minutes for this question, of course, and if you do finish very early, of course you can go back and make further points or refine some of your points. Once you have given at least 3 points to support each view, you can move on to your conclusion. It's important that you show that you do have an opinion, and you must express this clearly. I hold the opinion that sports should be compulsory at school, and in this closing paragraph, which is the conclusion, I will highlight just a few of the reasons for this. I am demonstrating the reasons for which I came to my opinion, as well as summarizing some of the positive aspects for sports at school. I chose to pick one of the negative features. Some sports stars or sports organizations might be involved in things like drug abuse or other socially unacceptable behavior. They are, of course, role models for children at times. So I am proposing that in these cases where a sports star might be in trouble for something like drug abuse, this can be used to highlight the issue, and this can be a platform to discuss the issue openly with children and to show the dangers of these things and how to avoid them. So in summary, for the conclusion, choose an opinion and justify your opinion. This can be a summary of the positive points. You might also take one of the negative points. You can attempt to make an academic rebuttal of this point. This essay is only just over 250 words, but this would score a band 9 in the exam, so you don't need to write a lot. During your IELTS preparation, try to write at least one essay every day. This will develop your speed, which is very important in the exam. I would suggest that during your practice, eventually try to finish these essays within 30 minutes. In this way, you will not feel the time pressure of the exam, and this can definitely help your confidence. If you found this useful, please subscribe to my channel.